It's always exciting to be here on our news and current affairs program, Insights. It's a 60 minutes program on Citizen FM 93.7. The program is devoted to in-depth and comprehensive analysis of socio-political issues in the country. Welcome once again to Insights on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja. I'm your host, Lawrence Omoette. We would recall that in May 2017, President Muhammad Buhari, then president of the country, signed a bill into law through the acting president, then Professor Yemi Osinbajo, following the eventual passage of the 8th National Assembly. That was for the formation of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. This was through the act of the parliament. And then the appointment of the first chairman and chief executive officer, Honorable Abike Dabiri-Erewa, as the pioneer boss of the commission. The ratification and a final approval of the national diaspora policy by the federal government all followed eventually. One of the expectations of NITCOM was the reduction in the massive exodus of Nigerian professionals abroad in search of greener pastures. The commission is also expected to stem the tide and change the narrative to gain through the constructive engagement with diasporans and tapping their potentials for national development. Well, on Insight today, we will attempt an interrogation of the activities of NITCOM so far. And we have a formidable representative of NITCOM here in the studio. His name is Honorable Abdul Rahman Terab, Head of Technology, Transfer and Innovation Unit of NITCOM. Welcome to Insights, Honorable Terab.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lawrence, for having me this morning.
And thank you.
And our guest.
And thank you for honoring us, coming all the way from Maiduguri yesterday just to be on the show. We really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
Yes. You can join our live stream on YouTube by typing in Insights, and you will be part of the show from any part of the globe. You can follow us on our social media platforms, on Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and also on Twitter at Citizen FM 937. That's on X. And then the phone lines will be open by 10:30 when we can receive calls. But you can send us WhatsApp message before then on this numbers 0903 22 29797. That's 0903 22 29797. You can also send us a WhatsApp message on 0818 22 22205 or 0818 22 22206. WhatsApp message only. We start receiving voice calls by 10:30. So that's how it's going to be on the program for today. We are looking at NITCOM and how this very important agency has fared over the years. Honorable Tare, let's start this way. And when people hear Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, who is a diaspora?
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting question. A diasporan is a Nigerian who is considered to have lived outside Nigeria in a different country for a period of about a year. And then at the same time, the person has legally is legally staying in that country, and also has a legal address. He can be contacted, and of course, these qualify a Nigerian who is in the diaspora.
Okay. What about those who are not legally resident in these countries? So technically, we cannot call them diasporas?
Yeah, it's a very interesting point of view. They say the law is an ass. Unfortunately, the crafters of the law felt somewhat morally driven, so that the narrative should start from the establishment of the law by encouraging legal immigration. I believe that's the idea. So that because it is expected that the establishment of the Diaspora Commission is to engage with the diasporans for the development of the country and also for their own development as well. So it's a two-way stream. So what is important about this is that the country will acknowledge you. There will be benefits for you as being acknowledged and also appreciated by the country. So it is always seen or expected that the country will only, layers or rather engage with those who obey the law. And that is the premise of the definition of the diaspora in the National Diaspora Policy as well as in the Act.
Honorable Taro, I'm sure we'll come back to this because there are a lot of issues and challenges facing this situation. I know that NITCOM too sometimes run into some stormy waters when it comes to issue of Nigerians who are not legally resident in some of this country. We'll come to that.
A lot, actually.
Yeah, we'll come to that later. But let's look at this. I don't think it's in dispute that the diaspora is an economic factor.
Very well.
How can we make the diaspora more than an economic factor? Maybe an investment factor?
Yeah, actually, that's the idea of the economic factor. Because we are shifting the narrative from a social factor, where we are currently, and whatever most Nigerians see the idea of the diaspora is about a social issue. It's just about engaging with our brothers and sisters, just as in engaging with all manner of relatives and being communal, being family. You understand? Most people actually see it from that perspective. But the reality on ground, and of course, what actually drove a lot of us into, the diaspora sector is that other countries have leveraged on diaspora to actually develop their countries. The list goes on from Israel to Ireland to China to India, and the list is endless as we speak. So we believe Nigeria too has what it takes to leverage on its diaspora, because as it is and as it stands now, what was termed the brain drain of the past is actually a brain gain now for us in Nigeria. All we need to do is to sit down and look at it holistically and see how we can be able to mobilize these human capital, resources that Nigeria has now, in order to make them concentrate or rather focus back on the country and see how they can develop the country in their respective fields. As we speak today, while most people are concentrated largely on the Japa issue, of course, a lot of people are not seeing that there are a lot of Nigerians currently returning from the diaspora. There are a lot of Nigerians now wanting to engage more with the country from the diaspora. I can tell you that a lot of Nigerian medical professionals are coming yearly now in groups, several groups, to provide medical mission services across the country. Some of them in their respective states, some of them here in the Federal Capital Territory, and in many places. We are always now inundated with requests for a particular medical mission to come to facilitate them to be in a particular state to provide certain medical services. As a matter of fact, we have diasporan medical practitioners who have come to provide open heart surgeries for free. These are services that on the minimum will cost you about 4 to 5 million naira per person. But they come, they mobilize their resources, they come during their breaks or holidays, instead of them to be sitting down and enjoying themselves, they actually even mobilize some of their other colleagues who are not Nigerians. I had the rare privilege to meet a particular Nigerian who came with some of his colleagues as a holiday. Some of them are Indians, some of them are, South Americans, some of them are even Africans. But he mobilized all of them to come to Nigeria and provide open heart surgeries. And it was very successful. They provided these kind of missions are not only to provide the service. Actually, they also engage in skill transfer, technology transfer. They come with a lot of their equipment, which sometimes some of the hospitals we have here don't have, and even a lot of skill also. And then by the time they leave, you find that these areas where they provide these services are now equipped with certain skills for them to continue even after they leave.
Okay, let's talk briefly about remittances. We know that it's huge, the remittances from Nigerians in diaspora. Give us a picture. How huge is this?
Well, first of all, I think let me put a particular narrative straight. Remittances are actually monies, specifically in monetary terms, and then sometimes in material terms, and also even sometimes in service terms, that are sent to one's country, but it's usually not to the country or the government.
But
these are to
relatives.
To relatives. I'm sending money to my aged mother in the village. I'm sending money to help pay the school fees of my uncle's children, or of my brothers and sisters' children. I'm sending money to my alma mater, my former school, so that they can be able to develop a part of their, classrooms or whatever. So, and even for community development. So these monies come, they are direct transfers, P2P, person to person usually. So, but it helps in stimulating the economy. Okay. Because if I now send you money as a brother or as a sister to help build a room for me or a house for yourself, you see the multiplier effect goes into the purchase of cement, the purchase of blocks, employment of labor and artisans, the purchase of land, payment of taxes. So you can now see how it now filters into the economy indirectly. So it helps boost the economy. But what is interesting, of course, in terms of numbers, the numbers have been growing over, especially the last 10 years. At the moment, we are currently hovering between $22 to $25 billion annually. Even at that, we believe it's actually much more than that, because these are what are termed, the nature of figures that can actually be seen. That's observable figures. As we speak, we all know that there is no flight that comes into Nigeria from other countries that doesn't have passengers who actually come in with $200-300 from some people in the diaspora, so that they will hand it over to their brothers and sisters and their families here. We believe some of these kind of transfers, the irregular transfers, are not actually even captured. That is one. And then secondly, we want the government to actually also take it up deliberately, to make it deliberate, to increase these transfers by incentivizing remittances, reducing the cost of remittances. Because if I'm transferring money from, say, United States to Nigeria, it costs some money. Sometimes it costs about 5% or 10%, because all these international money transfer agents do collect fees for these transfers. So sometimes that also is discouraging. In fact, it's much easier with the Anglo-West, the countries that are actually more, technology-oriented are in the West. When you move to the East, in Asia, even in Eastern Europe and in some places, you find that the cost of transferring money from these places to Nigeria is actually very, very high. As a matter of fact, sometimes even the channels don't exist. So we have been in touch with the central bank. We have been in touch with the Federal Minister of Finance and the Nigerian government to see and find ways to see how they can be able to actually make it more encouraging for Nigerians who are living abroad to be able to send monies to their loved ones back home is to their loved ones, but it also, has impact on the economy. As a matter of fact, the last calculations are showing that it's about 6% of Nigeria's GDP, the amount of remittances that is coming from the diaspora.
Okay, well, if you're just joining us, it's Insights, and we are looking at the goings on, if you may, in NITCOM, and we have as our guest Honorable Abdul Rahman Terap, who is the head of Technology Transfer and Innovation Unit of NITCOM, and he's been giving us an update on how things have been going. You can, in the next 5 minutes or thereabout, we will open the phone lines, but you can join us on our social media platforms so far, on Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and also on X at Citizen FM 937. We will take a short break, and when we return, we will enter some other issues to discuss with Honorable Terap. Please don't go away. Insight will return in a moment.
UTME into Nigerian tertiary institutions begins January 15th to February 26, 2024. Please check with NIMSI to ensure that all data agrees with your details. Each candidate must create a profile using a phone number not previously used by other candidates. Send your NIN by SMS text to either 55019 or 66019 to generate the profile code. A profile code of 10 characters is received by the candidate in same phone number, which is presented to purchase the UTME e-pin. Registration fee inclusive of all relevant charges is 7,700 naira with mock exam or 6,200 naira without mock exam. Center and back charges of 2,700 naira and 4,200 naira respectively have been included in the fees to be collected and will be remitted to the center. JAMB will be providing the e-copy of the reading text free to the candidates through the following approved channels: JAMB website, candidate's email, candidate profile, and the QR code on the registration slip. Direct entry registration starts February 28th to March 28th, 2024.
JAMB, enhancing academic excellence.
Here comes the People's Security Monitor on your classy Citizen FM 93.7, a program designed to serve as a platform to raise suggestions on how best to improve Nigeria's security system in collaboration with our security agencies and the citizenry. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 noon on 93.7 Citizen FM, Abuja. Remember, Nigeria's security is our collective responsibility. Hello dear, it's great to introduce to you Budding Stars, an exciting musical program. Budding Stars debuted in January every Monday and Friday by 4 to 5 p.m. It's dedicated to the promotion of upcoming artists, where between 12 to 15 songs will be played on every episode. On Budding Stars, you may just be the next music sensation to rule the airwaves. With listener base of over 3 million, you are sure of making an impact. For more information, please contact via SMS, call, or WhatsApp on 070-681-29310. The number again, 070-681-29310. Budding Stars, the soul of the nation.
Thank you for staying tuned. It's still Insight on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence Omoette. Our guest is still in the studio, Honorable Abdul Rahman Terap, who is the head of Technology Transfer and Innovation Unit of NITCOM. Yes, the phone lines are open now. You can join us. You can call us on 0903 22 22 27 07. 29797. That's 0903 29797. You can also call us on 0818 205 or 0818 206. You can send a WhatsApp message if you don't want to call, and we will be glad to take your read out your WhatsApp message. Just let us know where you are writing in from. Honorable Tara, thank you for staying tuned. Let's look at some issues surrounding a little bit of policies. During the last constitutional amendment, the issue of diaspora voting was dropped. But there seemed to be a ray of hope with the current Senate, because sometime last year, I think November, October, that the Senate said that it was thinking of introducing diaspora voting. I know that you were a member of the National Assembly at a point in time. Do you think this will see the light of day anytime soon, from your experience and maybe your interaction with your colleagues who are lawmakers?
Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, in this regard, and of course, I will seize this opportunity to appreciate the leadership of Honorable Abike Dabiri as the pioneer chief executive of the commission, and a very passionate leader who actually takes this very assignment to heart. Over the years, and we are now into the third, I think, constitutional amendment that actually features diaspora voting. She has done a lot, crisscross the entire, the length and breadth, and from one pillar to the post of the National Assembly, of the entire lawmaking process in the country, to bring all stakeholders on board, to create the necessary sensitization, to create the necessary awareness, to make everybody understand that it is a process that will be in the making. It's not going to be a destination at once. So that has actually been resonating, and it has been achieving desired results it's been moving from strength to strength through every exercise. I can tell you that looking at the numbers of those who voted, especially in the last exercise, we have made tremendous success, because we started from a point that is almost actually zero, where nobody actually believed that diaspora voting will contribute anything genuinely to our electoral process, to a point where in the last exercise, it was just very short, just a little short actually, a little short of the expected votes to make it crossover. So we believe that awareness is growing, and just like I told you earlier, Nigeria and Nigerians are getting to understand gradually that the diaspora issue is actually an economic factor, and the more we integrate our diaspora into our national development, it will have more positive impact on our development process as a nation. And as such, we are hopeful that this time around, more lawmakers will come on board. More lawmakers will be converts, just like we had in the last exercise, where some who previously actually voted against it turned around and voted for it. And of course, hopefully again this time around, we believe that we are going to get more support from the entire National Assembly, and as well as across at least 2/3 of the houses of assembly across the states, for them to understand the importance. We are already doing our bit, doing the necessary advocacy, creating sensitization and awareness. But of course, like the Honorable Abike Dabiri does say, this is not it's not going to be the effort of only the Commission herself and some few stakeholders. We want almost all diasporans to also be on board. We would like to call on all those who believe in diaspora voting to also reach out to their lawmakers.
Yes.
We want this to be a concerted effort, because if you give the let me give you some of the what do you call it, the benefits of diaspora voting. If we allow them to come on board, it means they will want to contribute more with the country, in the country. They will feel part of the decision-making process of the country. And that will make them want to engage more with the country.
And they'll be more interested in what is happening.
And then, like when we started, when the Honorable Abike Dabiri started, even as a committee in the House,
I remember.
People always feel as if the concept of diaspora, the Nigerian who is living outside the country, is a dent to the image of the country. Because that's the narrative that's sold. But over the time, we have done a lot in trying to change that. For every one Nigerian that is having some negative tendencies across the world, we have 1,000 who are doing great, who are engaging with their host communities, who are actually contributing to the development of the whole world in space science, in engineering, in aeronautics, in automobile, in medicine,
in sports,
across the world, in the entertainment industry. So you now get to realize that it is in our interest to engage with this set of people who have excelled in their various, because here we are, we sit down and say, oh, look at something on the, on the web that China did. Look at something that India is doing. Look at something that US is doing. And you will be surprised that some of these things you are celebrating were actually either designed by Nigerians or actually even engineered by Nigerians or even actually constructed by Nigerians over there. So what you need to understand as a Nigerian is that you have the capacity, you have what it takes, you have the potential to actually be better than these countries, because if you can bring down your resources, your human capital resources together and mobilize them properly, they have the capacity to do those things that you see in other places and wish you are part of it. So that is, to that extent, is the importance of allowing diaspora voting to be embedded in our electoral process. But what is also very important is that this is not a one-off process. It doesn't mean that the moment we just pass diaspora voting today, automatically all diasporans will vote, even including local government elections, whatever. No. It starts with a process. Even the most developed countries, we've understudied some few countries, even around here in, we've studied France, we've studied some other countries, and even in Africa here. So it starts with a process. And first of all, it is just the opportunity for them to vote. Maybe once in the electoral process. But they will start with just presidential. That's what we are saying. Before we continue to develop the capacity that can be able to capture all of them, to be able to get down to the, lower levels of all electoral processes. And we don't expect that forever we will continue to remain like this, stagnant, without developing. So we should also expect that our electoral system also, and our electoral process will also develop. And for those who think that probably with the way things are going, with all the sort of narratives people are throwing out there, it's even an opportunity for you, because people out there will now have the opportunity to see how your electoral system works, which means for every well-thinking and well-endowed Nigerian will now understand that people are looking at us, and let us try to establish best practices that are globally acceptable.
Honorable Terab, as you were talking, I was just wondering if this is to see the light of day. It means that more responsibilities will be put on all the stakeholders, NIDCOM, Foreign Affairs, on the need to have a comprehensive database of Nigerians living abroad. I know that you have something now,
very well,
and you're working on it. But how comprehensive is this database currently?
Nigerians now on a daily basis do register, and that's a beautiful news. Because when we started, nobody wants to come around for just so many reasons. We have created a very very shady narrative of ourselves. It's just compounded with so much distrust, mistrust, and suspicion across everybody. And that is what the Commission under the leadership of Honorable Abike Dabiri has been able to at least, resolve little by little, making trust the main cardinal objective of engaging with the diaspora. Like the diaspora believes that engaging with the country does not only have benefits, but also gives them opportunities. And to that extent, by just words of mouth, by people seeing that nothing wrong happens when you register, by people seeing that you get actually to be involved, to be engaged with developmental issues, by people understanding that the more the database we develop, the more the power of the diaspora comes into limelight. Currently, what we have that is thrown out there globally is that we have 17 million Nigerians. We believe we have very much more, because 17 million, I think you can even be able to find it around Africa alone. You don't have to go outside. But the issue is we are calling on Nigerians in the diaspora to register on the diaspora portal, which has been open and available for the last 2 years on www.nitcom.gov.ng/registry. Once you get there, you register. It means simply that whatever programs we have, we'll be able to contact you directly. We can be able to send you mails. We can be able to send you messages. We can be able to let you know that the Nigerian government is planning so and so. Will you be interested? As we speak with you now, there is the National Housing Program for Nigerians in the diaspora. And interestingly enough, a lot of Nigerians in the diaspora have already signed up to take opportunities in that sector. There is the diaspora mortgage, scheme, which is also about to be launched now, which means Nigerians in the diaspora are going to get housing loans to build houses in Nigeria up to about 50 million naira worth. So these are a lot, and then of course the issue of the diaspora voting. Now this is communicating positively to most Nigerians in the diaspora, because somebody even feels as if, why should I be the only one contributing to you? What is in it for me? So here are things that are in it for you as a diaspora, and it means that the country would like to engage with you in so many ways. But the most important aspect of the database for us is to know your skill, is to know what you're doing, is to know that we can actually incentivize. Because let's assume now there are states now that are out there scouting for doctors, and believe you me, they are willing to give you the same pay you are receiving over there to come and provide some services, special services for them in the state. And you don't have to come physically. They are trying to adopt telemedicine. They are trying to adopt technology. So your services, while you're free over there, will still be engaged over here. And you see, you have achieved two things at the same time. You have contributed to your nation. You are also gaining from it, because you are not doing it for free. But at the same time, you will be celebrated over time as someone who has not left his people back and has contributed to the development of the nation. But then again, the next most important aspect why you need to register with the commission or with the country is the recent unfortunate incidences that have been events that have taken place. One specifically in Ukraine. Of course, it happened before that in South Africa, where there was xenophobic attacks.
Exactly, I was even coming.
You understand?
To that, yeah.
We are currently still inundated with issues in Libya, although that's also another issue, because by our definition of diaspora, which I've done earlier, some of them have not yet fallen into the category of a diaspora. But unfortunately, because the commission has come in and there has been gap with regards to such issues about Nigerians who are living abroad, just like the recent case of some Nigerians who were actually caught up in Togo, trying to travel outside to other countries. These are actually ordinarily travelers, and there are agencies of government that are actually supposed to also handle them. But because the diaspora issue has become so widely seen in recent times, everybody now inundates us with issues like that. But it is important, because if you are registered with us, we can be able to know where you are. Because I could recall there was a particular situation in eastern Ukraine, which was very close to the borders with Russia. And so Russia offered to, provide passage for Nigerians who are in eastern Ukraine so that they are not caught up in the war. But there was a simple question. How many Nigerians are there? Who are they? It became an issue. We had to open up, Facebook, WhatsApp lines, whatever. Some people who were actually able to see it were able to register. But there were still so many who couldn't, because at that time some accesses were cut off. People don't have networks. There was no electricity. So you see, it was a too late time to deal with some of these situations. Likewise, in the recent uprising or rather conflict in Sudan, the same issue came up, and this now underscores the importance of Nigerians to register. Nigerians who are living outside the country to register with our data mapping portal. It has been growing thanks to, unfortunately, some of these events or incidences. It has made people to be more aware, to wake up to their responsibilities. And of course, we are still having a lot of pockets of attacks of Nigerians across the globe. So that too is making people to realize that so long as they register with us, we can be able to easily contact them and then, of course, resolve their issues. As a matter of fact, over the years, or in recent times, since the establishment of the commission, with the coming on board of the chairman, Honorable Abike Dabirwa, the worth of the life of the average Nigerian living outside the country has actually increased a lot. People now think twice in most climes before they have anything to do with a Nigerian.
Okay, Honorable, still talking on diaspora. Recently, in the last couple of weeks, I know that NITCOM have been very worried about what they call shady diaspora groups across, canvassing for investment and everything. What's the situation now?
Well, I think it's a simple, straightforward issue. The Corporate Affairs Commission has mandated any diaspora group that wants to operate as a diaspora organization to seek registration with it. And by that, it will also mean that the commission will also be involved in verifying the veracity or otherwise of the organization. So I think when organizations want to float something, investment, especially things that could have negative impact if it goes south, it's okay for objectives to be noble, but it depends on what regulatory framework is it operating within. So it doesn't take much for you to make yourself available to all the regulatory bodies and get certifications before you now go ahead to do that. There are many other legitimate diaspora groups who are working within the ambits of the law, and I don't think NITCOM has any issues with them.
All right, if you're just joining us, we have about 10 minutes to wrap it up. It's Insights, and we are talking about NITCOM, that's Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, and what they have been doing. Honorable Abdulrahman Tarab is the head of Technology, Transfer and Innovation Unit of NITCOM. The phone lines are still on. I think we have a problem with the 206 because I see the calls are dropping. But you can call us on, let's stick to one line now, 0903 2229797. That's 0903 2229797. You have 10 minutes. Let's talk. Make that call now. Honorable Tarab, let's talk about irregular migration. This is one issue that most times also, even though it's not only NITCOM that is supposed to be responsible for some of this fallout, but most of the time people run to NITCOM, people call the NITCOM. And I know that you have a partnership with NAPTIP in the past on ways of tackling human trafficking. Talk to us, what's been happening on that?
Well, I think all the stakeholder agencies, specifically NAPTIP, the Nigerian Immigration Service, and the Ministry of Interior as a whole, doing their bits or doing their part as regards their mandate. The issue is that with respect to irregular migration, let me state it clearly that Nigeria is not the only one country that is involved in it. It has now become a serious global issue. As we speak, in 2023, going into 2024, over 300 million citizens of the world were caught up, or rather were involved in irregular migration. 300 million. That's a huge number. Now, the issue, like we keep on saying, is that there are always two major factors beneath it. There is the push factor and there is the pull factor. And as a matter of fact, globally, what actually determines both are issues of income inequality, issues of peaceful coexistence, political issues, even sometimes down to family issues and cultural and economic issues. Community issues, so forth. And what have you. So, what is important is that all these agencies are trying their best. One, to advocate and to create awareness that please, if you want to travel legally and travel regularly. But for the case of here, of course, it's not only here in Nigeria, but of course, specifically with the case of Nigeria, we consider this as a social issue, largely. It's beyond economic. It's a social orientation issue. There are a set of people who believe, except I cross over to the other side, nothing good will happen to me where I am. As a matter of fact, they can't even define what is that good. Just because others before them have gone, they have to go. And we keep saying, for every one successful story that you hear, there are many other ones that are also. But what actually beats our mind is that you could ordinarily go through the normal legal process, obtain your visa, pay your ticket, and travel. Why is it so difficult? Why are we even asking this question? Why are we even saying this? We are saying this because of what is involved in it is mind-boggling. You go and sell your house for 15 million, 20 million. I can't understand. What kind of visa can that not be able to obtain for you? What kind of air ticket can that not be able to obtain for you? You will obtain that amount of money, but you will still choose to cross the Sahara, go to Libya, and be lucky that you are one of those that will be ferried across the Mediterranean.
See, to Spain.
You understand what I'm saying? If you make it alive to Libya. After making it alive to Libya, they will screen you. It's not everybody that gets to Libya that gets to enter the boat. In the boat, also, a very unfortunate situation. The slightest of any issue that happens, you get what you call it. You get lost in the sea. You are neither here nor there. Even after you cross the sea, you are kept in a camp in the cold for sometimes up to about 2-3 years. And even at that, you at the end of the day get deported. Haba, I can't understand what is in the mind that will make person go through such a process when you can just approach any embassy, put up the proper request, follow the necessary procedure, wait for the time allotted, get absorbed or get approved, and then buy a ticket and travel like any distinguished human being. So that's the reason why it's mind-boggling for us that people are choosing irregular migration. And you know the worst part? Most of these people that ferry them, the moment you land finally, luckily, in the country of destination, they take away your passports and your travel documents, and you become a slave. Sometimes for upward of 20 years. We have a lot of cases with us now here. People have worked. If you work, they are the ones who collect your payment. It goes to their account first. They now start to give you peanuts for you to only survival wage. That's what they give you. Only what you will eat and drink. Sometimes you don't even have enough for transport. That is the reason why a lot of people that are there don't even have enough to send back home. And that's the reason why we are saying, try to follow the regular and the legal corridors. By that, you will be happy that you've done it. But in a situation whereby your sending or selling your life earnings to be a criminal in somebody else's land and keep running for the rest of your life. I don't really understand the what do you call it? The sense in this at all. It's mind-boggling. So that's why we say it's a social issue. It's a social phenomenon. Some states like Edo State are doing very well in trying to reorient their indigenous or the citizens of the country to understand that there are ills in it. Of course, but they are just trying their best. But a lot still needs to be done.
And there are a lot of Nigerians who are stuck and they can't even return.
A lot.
For fear of maybe shame.
A lot.
And so many other things.
These are even people that have crossed. As we speak with you, if you go to Libya, every month, I think there is, what do you call it, the numbers of Nigerians who are caught in the middle, could not proceed, could not turn back. It is into thousands every month. Every month. And the federal government used to send continuously through NAPTIP, will send what do you call it, aircrafts to go and bring some of them. Some of them will even try to hide, not to come back. You understand what I'm saying? But the issue is with the hope that someday maybe they will be lucky to pass. So these are the narratives that Nigerians who are living here need to know. That sincerely speaking, the odds are too high for you to embark on irregular migration.
Well, Honorable Tareba, I wish we had more time. There's still a lot to talk about, but I'm afraid we have to wrap it up.
It's all right.
Thank you so much for your interventions on Insight, Honorable Abdurrahman Terab, Head of Technology, Transfer and Innovation Unit of NITCOM. Maybe some other time. It won't take about a year again, because the last time you were here was about a year ago. Thank you so much for your interventions.
Thank you very much, Lawrence, for having me. Thank you.
Well, that's our package on Insight. The program returns tomorrow with another edition. My name is Lawrence Omoette. Up next is People's Security Monitor. Please don't go away.